and welcome back to another episode of the Just MS Show. I'm your host, Justin Loizos, and thank you. It means a lot. Now, this particular episode, sort of inspired by the last one, talking about working out and what it's like in the gym currently, if you haven't checked it out. Now, this one, it's actually workout to wheelchair, and basically how things can just change in an instant, right? And it's like how getting stronger made me weaker. Yeah, I like that. Well, I don't, but it's a cool tag, right? It sounds good. And it's real, like I had this injury over the lockdown, and it's had me wheelchair bound since, right? Like I can do little short bursts. I'm working on it, and it's just super challenging. And it's just like one wrong move, and I'll go back. Like I've had a couple injuries along the way, like serious ones, and 2018 I had a big one, really slowed me down. Nothing like the latest, but yeah, like I was first diagnosed in 2012, right? So it's been almost 14 years, I guess, right? And right out of the gate, we have typical, well, not typical, aggressive MS to start, wheelchair bound after that, told I'd never walk again. Then fast forward a couple years, along the way I took on the Terry Walls protocol, doing my absolute best to try and rehabilitate, work out, and my brain as well. Lots of ups and downs there. There's lots of, I talked about it on some other episodes, and I'm sure you can relate, right? It's super challenging, regardless of how aggressive your MS is. Your MS is the worst. It's yours. It's horrible. It sucks. And yeah, the initial, like the early days I found were very difficult, and I know that it's not uncommon. Most of us have a very hard time out of the gate, and hopefully it gets a little better, like psychologically at least. You can handle it better as most of us kind of get used to it. And yeah, so it was about 2 years plus about almost 3, and I started regaining my abilities to walk, right? I went from wheelchair to walker, cane to no cane, just limping around, right? Like when I opened up my first business, which is interesting that I went on to actually open my first business, and that was neat. I was given an awesome opportunity. I remember it was interesting because I had a tray of coffee in my hand, and there was a length of the plaza that we were located in, and I was debating like, ooh, shoot, can I make it? I was gonna call someone to come pick me up, and I did it, and there were even stairs there, and I hobbled across, and that was cool, right? After being told I'd never walk again, right? I always remember those things. So never give up. It's one thing, whatever. So that was interesting, right? Like, so out of the gate, it was pretty bad, and I'd been going to a place called Toronto Rehab. I mentioned it in the last episode. It's a wonderful establishment here in Toronto that if you're like, you have a neurological issue that physiotherapy could help with, their team actually with any type of rehabilitation, because they have support workers and like I remember like in the early days there I had like 4 different specialists working with me, so they were working on all types of different like physical therapy. They even had water therapy was available. I didn't get into it, but yeah, then it was like working on fine motor skills, and also you have a whole team. And part of me, some of the titles are whatever. It's been a long day. I'm sure you understand. It's not that important. I didn't prep for that today. Just rambling a little. So there I am, getting better. And yeah, so I was, kind of keeping out of it. But like I said, I opened my first business, and that took up a lot of my time. Then I ended up, that was a partnership. Then I opened up my actual first business of my own, like about a year after that, right? Left that one alone. Everything was cool. Opened up my own place. And then, yeah, I couldn't slow down, and definitely didn't make enough time to work on my physical health. And yeah, so everything was okay. And then it was about like right at the start of 2018, I was walking down my steps in a bungalow, about 4 steps, right? So it went boom, boom, and then it was one step, just boom, boom, really quick. And yeah, I broke a little bone in my foot, right? Got all these little bones in there. And yeah, so there I am. And I was on my way to work. And I had a coworker. She gave me a hand. Like she lifts me over. I get in the vehicle. I didn't know how bad it was, right? But we had to get to work. Had to had to open up. And yeah, it was like I'm like we're just talking. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try. And if it's broken, then we'll head to the hospital. And she's like, okay. So I get out there right away. I'm like, oh no, we gotta go. So we close the shop. I go to the hospital, and of all the days, I didn't even think about it, but it was oh shoot, so you know what, it was actually right at the end of 2017, almost 2018, so pardon me, but it was right at like Christmas time. So it was the Santa Claus parade was out, right? And it was tough because this Santa Claus parade is right on the street where the hospital is. We had to go in from a different route. It was just jammed, and all I needed to do was, or I really wanted to do really badly, was to get into a washroom, right? So my worker, or my employee there, pardon me, she had ended up being super nice and got me pants and stuff because I destroyed mine. Bowel issues, bladder issues. I was like, my system was attacking myself. I was under attack from after I broke my foot, and yeah, so it was just like glitching, and I was having such a hard time. I get a wheelchair. I get into the washroom. I don't want to get into all the horrors that was in there. It's just destroyed it, right? I was destroyed. And I call the hospital from the inside. I'm like, hey, I'm in your washroom, you know? And they were super cool. And they got an employee there to bring me like the hospital gowns, right? Just to like get dressed and clean up and some stuff. So yeah, it's brutal. And then I get into the emergency. Like I go into the emergency from the entrance to the hospital, like not the normal way you would enter the emergency. Usually it's from the outside, right? It makes sense. And she's looking at me like triage, right? And I go, hello. And I have no ribbon. I had not been checked in, whatever. We worked it out. There were other issues at hand, right? So that was bad. Too much. It was like, even then, there's all these like little bones, like I mentioned, in your foot. And they didn't even recognize it at first. Like they weren't able to see it. So we didn't even know if it was fully broken or what. They called it a fracture. It's like, okay. I go home. And it was interesting. Like I go home, and it was the next day. I go to take a shower. Again, I'm not thinking it's broken. I know I gotta wash it. And I stand, and when I stand, it was just like, oh. And I had a jar open, and I just fell, and then I fell on my side, and I broke my rib. So, you know, then it's on the phone again, now with emergency, right? And they come and pick me up, and that was rough, you know. So they brought me to the hospital. It was nice. Like my sister came, brought me some meds that I needed, which is really cool. Little support when I was there. It's really nice. And yeah, so there I was, and then I got more x-rays, and they said, oh well, there it is. They identified the break in the foot, the break in my rib. Now it's not a broken rib, but I actually went blindish. Like I kind of had like this there were like just real vision issues, the kaleidoscope. It was wild for a few days after almost a week, right? And it was really bad. And again, my bowels and bladder, blah, was out of control, and out of my control, that's for sure. So yeah, that was not any fun. But you know what? Although I didn't give enough attention to the process of rehabilitation for that particular or those injuries, I did okay. They didn't slow me down too much. I was still hobbling around, using more of a walker, and you know, I even had a like a scooter at my shop there. It's a big place, so just to get to the washroom on time, I'd like hike over with the scooter back and forth, right? Okay. Yeah, so that was okay, and like I said, it was okay. And over time, I worked it out. Didn't get that bad, thankfully, and I could have done a better job of rehabilitation, but you know, I was busy. So like, there's always an excuse, and I would not recommend you make them if you're ever in a similar situation. make the, like, especially with MS, it's so hard to heal. Do whatever you can just to get in there, do the rehabilitation, keep active, right? It's important. And you definitely won't regret it, right? And yeah, okay. So then, more recently, I had an injury where I was over the lockdown. Here we are. We're just doing what we can, right? Like I had a bag of cans. I'm doing squats, um, doing curls with the cans and just whatever you can, right? Doing a pretty good job though. I'm walking back and forth in my place, like when to end, and it's like whatever. You do what you can, right? And a lot of us, that's what we were doing. So one day I'm doing squats and I was silly, like I wasn't being careful when I was down. I was just working to like exhaustion pretty much, and then falling into my bed. Like I'm doing squats beside my bed and then falling back, and then squats, falling back. Like not all of everyone, but after like a set of 12, and so I max farther, and just and rest, right? And then one time when I go to like to fall back, it's just like oh, and it was like, and I didn't get up. Called 911. There we are. Now we're on the phone again, and emergency, and they come get me, but I gotta unlock the door. Right? Okay. So I get on the floor, and I kind of like scoot my bum, like just like that, and I get oh boy, it was a mess. And then they took me to the hospital. I spent a couple weeks there, and then they transferred me over to a rehabilitation facility, and it was actually nice, beautiful. It's like the newest one in Toronto. Like really nice view. Not that it mattered so much, but I guess it helps. It sure does. The staff there were great. I'll still remember like every morning, not most mornings, there was one of the people who bring your food. I don't remember their title, but she would sing, super kind and nice, and what a great way to start the day. Definitely made things a little easier. I was supposed to stay there for a month, but I left after about 2 weeks. They said, look, if you gotta go, you gotta go. I had plans and I had someone taking care of them. It was just like, it was hectic or stressful or whatever. I want to get out of there. I'm sure you can relate. Wasn't the prettiest exiting there. Again, I'm not going to get into it on that one, but I did get out. Probably should have stayed a little longer. It is what it is. And, I did what I did. So I left, and then I unfortunately, again, it was still under the lockdown, so I did what I could. Finally, when the gyms opened up, I got back into the gym. I was trying to like heal as much as I could, and I did a little bit. But now I was not able to walk very far, and even sitting in my chair for too long became very challenging, right? So just getting back into that rhythm, getting to the gym, working out, just doing my form of rehabilitation, that was great. And then about a year ago, yeah, I moved to where I am here, my home, and it took me a little while to find the right gym, but I found it. I'm there. They have a pool. I think it's great for my back, great for my legs. It like takes the weight off of me, which is like the hardest thing. It's so painful, so it's just very freeing. And I mentioned a little bit about it in the last episode. So yeah, I'm working on healing, working on my back, and it's consistent. Yeah. So moving forward, I guess the most important thing we could take away from this, hopefully, would just be careful. Don't rush. And if you think it's too much, just slow down, listen to yourself, and just be careful. It's really important. For myself, I'm kind of debating. I think I mentioned again in the last episode there. I'll link to it in the end because I've mentioned it so many times. But yeah, I was thinking of like hiring somebody maybe a couple times a month to just meet me at the gym. Like they have staff there you can hire, just help me with transferring, keeping a log, this kind of things. Like a personal trainer, right? It could be beneficial, right? I'm thinking there's a lot of pros, right? The other thing, I don't have a huge budget is the issue currently, whatever. I'm also looking into gyms that have certain equipment that may be beneficial. Like I saw one who I sent an email to earlier today, and they have like a harness on a treadmill. It's like, okay, and with supervision, with a physiotherapist, like I think that could be nice, right? little expensive, but if I go there twice a month, that could be great, right? I think that's sounds exciting. Maybe at least to try it out, you know. And whatever it is, I'll update it here. And yeah, if you have any experience with the same, or you experience something with the injury and the rehabilitation and dealing with it and how your MS progressed even further and blah blah blah, I'll be happy to hear about it. Not happy to hear about it, obviously, because it's horrible. But I'll be happy to hear your story, and maybe we could chat about it. Do an interview on here once I get everything together and I start doing the interviews again. So check out my website, and you can leave a thing, and there's a place there you can say, hey, I want to be interviewed, and we'll chat and we'll take it from there. That's great. And if not, even just send me a message, and you can tell me a little bit of your story of what happened and how you did, how you're doing. Yeah, whatever. Cool. And thank you. I appreciate it. Bye.